Youth crime, the failures of the Queensland government, weak legislation for the QPS to work with. Welcome to my cast. Throughout the term of the ALP, the Queensland government has failed the public when dealing with youth crime. Even during the recent elections, it was identified as a voter concern that needed to be addressed. People were asking themselves, what will it take for them to listen, or what will it take for them to take it seriously? Well, recently, it took 3 deaths to take them seriously. And now the ALP government, Anastasia Palaszczuk's government, have called themselves to action. And they want to look for answers, and they're going to look into this. Now, I'm not going to discuss these deaths today. I'm not going to trivialise them, and we'll just get on with the politics behind it. Okay, so recently there's been some talk about some changes that are going to be introduced through the Palaszczuk government to try and help curb this youth crime. We'll start with they're going to create presumption of bail for youth offenders arrested for committing further serious indictable offences such as break-entering, serious assault and armed robbery while on bail. Now, we need to keep in mind that in August 2019, Anastasia Palaszczuk introduced legislation that put the onus on the police to try and justify why to keep these repeat offenders in jail under bail conditions. But the new legislation will actually put the onus on the offender to justify why they shouldn't be retained in custody. They're going to seek assurances from parents and guardians that bail conditions will be complied with before the offender is released. This is not going to be holding the parents responsible. It's a waste of breath. It's just words. And you probably need to consider that the majority of youth that commit these crimes, their parents are aware of it, are probably encouraging it, and are actually part of the problem. So there's no way that that's going to work either. What they do say that they're going to try to do is to strengthen existing bail laws to provide further guidance to courts. And they probably need to take this a step further and have some sort of a watchdog looking over the courts to make sure that our judges that reside in the youth courts are actually enforcing these laws consistently in line with the changes to legislation. They're going to be providing the courts with increased powers, allowing them to require the fitting of electronic monitoring GPS trackers as a condition of bail for repeat offenders aged between 16 and 17. Now, there's lots of inherent issues that come with this. These things need to be charged, and if they don't get charged, then obviously they just stop the GPS tracking. So that's an easy out for them. And the other side to it as well is that they'll just recruit younger offenders to commit the crimes for them, which could be potentially increasing the chances of younger children being introduced to a life of crime. In line with some of the responses or the lack of responses that we've seen from the Palaszczuk government recently, the Katter Party has recently revealed that they will be insisting the Palaszczuk government will have to table a plan to effectively deal with this crisis on the first sitting day of Queensland Parliament this year. If the Palaszczuk government fails to table something that seriously addresses this situation, the Katter Party will be commencing a vote of no confidence in the Palaszczuk government. Probably in response to that, the Palaszczuk government has said that they want to start a task force. What for? The QPS are already on the ground. They already have protocols in place that align to the current legislation. If they start a task force, they're going to be removing people from jobs where they're already needed and they're already fighting crimes in other areas to focus on crime that can simply be fixed by changing the legislation. Give the police on the ground the powers they need to keep the younger repeat offenders off the streets, and also empower the court systems through legislation to make sure that we can keep them off the streets. Anna, you need to change the legislation now, empowering the QPS to keep these repeat offenders off the streets and providing safety and security to all Queenslanders. That's what you're voted in to do, to keep us safe. It's your job. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to hit the like button and follow me on whatever platforms that will allow me to have this sort of a voice. Looking forward to building up a bit of a followship. One other thing I forgot to mention, I apologise for the background, etc. And there's been seen a few changes with the presentation of the podcast as I've been getting upgrades to my software, getting new microphones, and hopefully my backdrop will arrive in the next couple of days to sort of like seal everything up.